Erez, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Keith.
I'm excited to talk to you because we're going to talk about Ketryx, which is a company that is doing incredibly meaningful work. It's a platform for life sciences teams to build FDA compliant software. So let's unpack that. What does that mean?
So what that means is today when teams are trying to make technology that human life relies on, especially in medicine, for most applications, they need to get approval from the FDA to say, we think that this is good enough for the American consumer, for the American market, to trust their life and well-being on this device. And in order to do that, you need to produce an immense amount of evidence. And when I say evidence, I mean literal kind of paper or electronic documents that just explain in great detail what it is your product does, how you know that it does those things, and what are the key risks or harms that can be caused by your product, and how have you mitigated them to ensure that they just don't happen to people, right? Like every medicine is poisonous, but some of them can cure people. And so trying to find that boundary and understand how to work with it is what the FDA is asking for. And what we do is we've created a set of tools that connect to the commonly used software development tools that all developers know and love, and allow you to create FDA compliant software at a fractions of today's time and cost by removing the human need to kind of meticulously make documents, by kind of adding basically a software system that connects to these tools and produces those regulated artifacts, documents, pieces of evidence you need to have through the actions you take while you develop the product. So we reduce kind of the time it takes to do it by 40 to 70% is what our customers say.
So how did the idea of the company come to fruition?
I'm a software developer. I love software. I used to work for a company called Wolfram Research that develops Mathematica, Wolfram Alpha, and the Wolfram Cloud. So kind of developer tools for mathematicians and physicists. After a while there, I was hired by a company called Amgen, which is the largest independent biopharmaceutical company in the world, to lead AI and machine learning for their medtech group here in Boston, actually in Kendall Square, right around the corner from our office. And I saw that it was very challenging to develop software in regulated environments, both kind of in the industry itself. Like I went to conferences and started talking to folks and said, wow, like this is very different than how I developed software until now in unregulated domains. That led me to think, maybe a lot of other people are feeling the pain I'm feeling, where I want to bring this amazing AI-based innovation or software-based innovation into the market to help people. But the level of reliability and the level of scrutiny that the software is under makes it very hard to do that. And so I left and started thinking, how can I build a company that would create the tools that I want to have when I make safety critical software, when I think about patients, and how can we help people all around the world get access to better medicine and get a treatment through software and digital innovation. And that's what kind of became Ketryx. And we realized at some point, what people want is just use the tools they used in unregulated development, but to develop FDA regulated software.
Which is all important because this impacts people, right? So if you have a medical device, like, there's real people that ultimately benefit from the software that you're building.
Yeah, and I think to us, that's probably the best part, is today there's millions of people all around the world that have access to more innovative software, better medical devices that have been developed and deployed on Ketryx already. And I guess that's part of the exciting part of our customers. Our partners are mostly large multinational medical device and pharmaceutical companies that have huge scale. We uniquely understand their problem because we came from there. Like I worked in a multinational pharmaceutical company, many of us have. And I'd say that's what wakes me up in the morning, is seeing the amazing impact we can have on patients. And, every time we have an employee that's sick or someone in their family is sick, they come back and just saying, I didn't even understand how important what we're doing is until I went to the hospital recently. And I realized how slow things are and how little information is shared. And when you really look at it, you realize it's because it's so hard for them to build high reliability systems. Um, and yeah, it impacts people every day. And kind of the more you do it, the more you start reading the news and you're like, wow, safety critical issues and airplanes and cars and medical devices, like it's kind of not going away. And I think it's because it's a wave that's happening right now of automation continuing to replace human labor, and also augmenting it mostly and improving productivity. And that automation needs to happen in a safe and reliable way in places where human life is involved. So, medical devices, pharmaceuticals, cars, less so in like, marketing or creative kind of work. And so maybe the tools that were used to make social media websites and fintech aren't exactly the right tools to make safety critical software that our life relies on. And that's kind of what we're trying to do to bridge that gap.
So what's the latest with the company with Ketryx? You announced funding recently, so bring us up to speed as far as the state of the state.
So we recently raised our Series A. It was led by Lightspeed Venture Partners, one of the world's largest venture investors. We're very fortunate to have gotten their enterprise fund onboarded and part of our board, part of our company. And we're basically poised now to have a huge amount of growth over the next few years. Because when we went out to the Series A, we told people what we were doing and the type of customers we were working with, and folks were quite excited, like, wow, not a lot of young companies working on something so risky and still seeing huge amounts of traction, especially from large established companies. And I think that was exciting to them. And we found partners there that understand the criticality of what we do. They're interested in investing in complex enterprise application. And we're kind of sharing with them that if folks think of mission critical as kind of the highest level, where there's one level above that, safety critical, where human life will be impacted if this doesn't work right. And I think for them it was quite exciting. Like, wow, that's a real unique avenue to go and pursue it successfully. And what we're doing now is basically growing in all direction. We're growing our commercial team, sales and marketing, growing our onboarding, implementation, customer success, as well as an R&D group, and having a great time doing that while working with some of the best brands in the world and helping them impact patients in a safer, more innovative manner. And I think it's just exciting to be part of that and seeing companies really going through the journey. We recently had a large international company that said they couldn't even achieve their ambitions with software development on any other platform. It'd just be impossible without Ketryx. And being a 2.5-year-old company, almost 3 now, it's something you don't imagine happening so soon. That people say, "Wow, without this technology, this large medical device company, wouldn't be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve."
So what's the culture like working at Ketryx?
I think our culture is a responsible place where people take what they're doing seriously and understand the impact we're having to the world. Like, the bigger impact, the more kind of critical what you do is. So I'd say it's a very kind of um, interesting, unique, fast-growing place, but also very serious. We understand that what we're doing is going to impact people's lives in a very serious way. That's kind of the drive, and the mission comes from that. But at the same time, that sense of responsibility, very innovative, very open, very exciting. I think we get to see some of the most amazing technology that people anywhere in the world work on, and a very collaborative environment where people who want to get more and more responsibility and grow and want to work with an amazing team of folks that make kind of the right decision at the right time, and are moving fast together, would love this culture. But I think it's very technical and very oriented towards kind of folks who want to take on a big, meaningful mission.
Regardless of market conditions, top tier talent always has options to consider. They usually have multiple opportunities in front of them. So why should Ketryx be on the radar for job seekers?
I think that's a great question. And there's a lot of places the top talent can go to and achieve kind of what they want to achieve. But what I think is unique about what we do is we're doing that other thing that people don't want to do typically, which is go into the hardest places, and the technology we're building will systematically impact medicine, climate change, uh, energy and energy storage, and many other of these critical technologies that people expect to see coming in the next 10, 20, 30 years. But the big secret is, like, in order to solve the energy crisis, you need to build nuclear reactors in a factory line. There's no system that exists today that would allow you to manage the complexity of that life cycle in a reliable manner. And that's what we're building. So it starts in medicine, but it has a huge application domain that can impact kind of many pillars. So if folks are connected to healthcare or to climate change or to general kind of human continuity and longevity, this is what we're involved in, building the base that allows all that technology to flourish and perform in a reliable manner. For me, it's quite personal. I have my mom is a patient, like all of us will be sooner or later. She happens to be a patient that has a class 3 implantable device implanted on her. Like many devices, there are different challenges around it. So that's what I think about all the time. Like, how can I bring people like my mom better, safer innovation sooner in a more reliable manner, in a way that's more connected and allows them to participate in the world and communicate. So like my mom, for example, lives pretty far away from me. We talk on the phone and her device has to do with hearing. So if there's any challenges with the software, I just can't talk to her, right? And I think that people who all of us will eventually be impacted by medicine, and the feeling of working on these problems when you're kind of finding yourself in that situation is amazing, because you're like, wow, I am doing something to impact this most critical problem in the world in my mind, which is um, the huge wave of automation that's going to go in and automate a lot of our lives. And we need to make sure that it's developed in a safe and reliable manner, which is not exactly how most software is developed today.
Well, if you are interested in exploring opportunities at Ketryx, you need to go to their company page on VentureFizz, which has all their job listings. Go to venturefizz.com/Ketryx, and that's Ketryx. Erez, thanks so much for taking the time to walk us through all the great information about the company.
Thank you, Keith. Really appreciate the time, and we'll talk soon, I'm sure.